I think these aren't straight, and we're gonna just let it rock. Hello from me and my fun buns. How are you? My name is Casey Michelle, and I'm a breathwork coach, facilitator / content creator. And I share information all about breathing, which may seem so simple, but there's a lot that you might not know. And today we're gonna dive into emotional awareness and emotional intelligence and maturity and whatever other word you want to insert there that comes with conscious breathing. So if you are interested in learning more, you got to give this a thumbs up first, and you have to comment down below what your state of emotions are right now in this moment. What is the current emotion present for you? If that's a color, if that's a texture, if that's just a word, if it's an actual feeling, comment it down below. My current state of emotion has a little bit of grief in it and a little bit of optimism at the same time. It's a very mixed feeling. Diving right into it, I think breathwork has really taught me to accept. I think acceptance comes when you start to accept your breath as it is. For those of you who have never tried breathwork, and for those of you who have too, there are so many emotions that can arise when it comes to conscious breathing practices. And I know we hear emotion and we just think sad and we think crying and we think all of that, but that's not the only emotions that arise. But I will say, even this morning in my breathwork session, your girl was crying. And I think what's beautiful about this practice is it allows you to process emotions safely, if that makes sense. I know for me, there kind of comes this like shame with emotions sometimes, more so in the past before I discovered breathwork. I kind of was like trying to get out of the emotion, or kind of like judging myself for having the emotion, or just like trying to find an instant remedy for that emotion, whatever it was. If it was kind of on the more negative side of the emotions, I kind of just wanted to fix it. But I think what is so beautiful about the practice of conscious breathing from your diaphragm, from your belly for a consistent amount of time, you can reach these places that your mind cannot. Breathwork is more so like a bottom-up practice rather than a top-down practice. So a lot of times top-down practices look like talk therapy and things that are kind of more like mental. Top-down practices are more like mental things, but sometimes there's stuff that is just stuck in the nerves, stuck in the muscle tissue, stuck in the cells of the body. And breathwork is kind of a bottom-up practice, and it can reach those spaces and that tension and those painful points and that trauma that's trapped in there that just some other therapeutic practices cannot reach. I have witnessed it all, for the record, if you were curious. Teaching breathwork now for 4 years, I have witnessed every emotion myself and in my students that I worked with. I mean, I've seen laughing, I've seen yelling in an excited way and in an angry way. I've seen pouring your eyes out crying. I've seen no emotion, absolute numbness. I've seen kind of an internal cry where there maybe not is physical tears, but they're still crying, if that makes sense. I've personally felt that a lot. I mean, you name it, it's probably come up. And I think that's why I love it so much, because again, I think oftentimes we get into funks and then we add another layer of funk when we're like kind of upset that we're in that funk. Instead of doing all that and making it just like this deeper hole, breathwork allows you to process emotions in a fluid way, in a way that isn't on somebody else, doesn't cause harm to yourself. You know, you're not like reacting to life or reacting on someone or bringing it out on, or, you know, putting it on someone else. You are fully aware of your emotions through practicing it consistently every single day. In my personal experience, I've really learned detachment in a lot of ways. I can't say that I've mastered it. I'm still a student myself. Realizing how everything really is an inhale, exhale, tension, release, up, down. I mean, it all is just change is constant, and it is in motion, all of it, energy in motion. And that being said, I just really wanted to shed light on that, because I feel like sometimes there's a lot of science about breathwork, and of course there's like the mental side of breathwork, but there's like really an emotional heart space that breathing deep and really seeing what it feels like to be fully in your body, fully aware who you are beyond any external needs or validation or anything like that. Just really in this internal, I always call it an internal euphoria, because that's what it feels like. It just, I think all the answers you've been seeking and all the messages you've been needing kind of just come from within when you really get into these deep practices. Also a beautiful tool though for exciting things and happy things and joy. But I've had practices that have really just lifted me up. I mean, really, like, I'll be okay, and then I'm like on Mars. I am feeling it. I am up. The blood is running through my body. My circulation is good. That means there's fresh blood to my brain. So my thoughts are actually happier, which makes my body feel happier, which makes me want to like get into my body and maybe move it or work out or do whatever. Like, it just brings you into your present space. And that alone, you know, your true self never wants to cause harm on yourself or others. So when you get to that true self, that true core of you, you start to move with a lot more self-love automatically. You're just like, let me clean my room. I can't tell you how many times I've worked with people and like the first thing they want to do, and this was a big thing I did too, is just clean out their closet and get rid of all this old stuff and clean their house. Like, that is one of the most common things I think I hear people, like, after steady doing breath work, they just start to rid old energy, get rid of old things. And you just naturally want to do this. You just are like, well, I'm feeling lighter, I'm feeling better, and I want to surround myself with high energy vibrational things because I'm a high energy and high vibrational thing. Like, you start to want that mirror in your life. And I get really passionate about it because it really, when I look back at what happened in the year that I dove into breathwork, I stopped wearing makeup. I got rid of so much stuff and I moved into a van full time. And I did not see any of that coming. I started to build a community of really like-minded people just without effort. It just happened. And I just started to believe in myself. I know that sounds just cheesy and simple, but I really made so much space because of so much traumas that were coming up when I was doing breath work. It just has this access. It has these keys to these secret spots of yourself that maybe you don't even know are there. Put down any other modality, of course, but I just highly recommend breath work consistently if you are feeling heavy, if you are feeling like you need a shift, if you are, kind of ongoing stress or kind of tired of the same patterns in your life. Your breath pattern is your life pattern. Start to deepen that breath. Start to really get conscious of it. You start to live a more conscious, deeper life. And you start to have a more emotional intelligence and awareness of yourself. And by that, you can kind of have that with other people as well. I've really seen myself shift in that way tremendously when it comes to forgiveness, which I haven't, again, not mastered any of this, but I've changed and grown. Forgiveness and just problem solving and just communication with others, so much more awareness in those spaces. I literally feel my heart start to pound and my breath start to speed up, and I'm like, okay, this is something coming through me. It's not mine, I am not this, but it is something I'm experiencing and it is passing through me, and I allow it to do that. I don't stop it from doing that, but I also don't put it on other people. I also have now learned how to process that the best I can. Again, I'm a student, but for the most part, knowing like, hey, I need space, or I got a journal, or let me take a walk, or on the other side of that, learning how to express my emotions, I think is something I'm in a current phase of really like in the most articulate and loving, respectful way, expressing what it is I'm currently feeling to those around me is kind of the chapter I'm in, where I'm done kind of internalizing it. I am now in a season of expressing it out loud, again, with love and respect, of course. And I really do think having the anchor of the breath throughout those kind of moments is vital. Anyway, this is one of my favorite topics to talk about, if you can't tell, just because it was kind of the missing piece I didn't realize I needed. Just sitting with myself and crying and hugging myself and breathing through it and really having that tool. Sometimes it gets so caught up in your chest. I have a video all about grief being correlated to your lungs. You can dive into that, but that tightness in your chest is literally correlated to your breathing, and learning how to breathe through that, or just allow that to speak to you. There's so much freedom on the other side of that, instead of just like defaulting it as your reality and like, this is just what's happening. I'm just sad. I'm just this. Like, don't claim it. You're just experiencing it. Hopefully this video resonated with you to some degree. If it did, again, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. Please be sure to subscribe. And of course, let me know if there's any videos you want to see from me soon. I am all ears. But until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.